I am really excited to read this next chapter to you called The Hitchhiker. I wonder if you have had, the Two Hitchhikers. I knew something wasn't right. I wonder if you guys have had a chance to think about what it is that the Bruce and Ernie are stuck on. It's a bit of a mystery. They described it as a moving rock. I wonder what it could be in the river. But first of all, let me just introduce myself. My name is Beth Shepherd, and I am the author of the Ernie Gonzalez series. So if you're the first time for you watching, just to introduce myself and to let you know, these are my books. This is my first book that I've written, and this is the second one that I've written. So I'm just working my way through this book while we're in lockdown. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. And thank you for watching. So just a little recap if you haven't been following and you're just joining for the first time. So Ernie Gonzalez, a slimy, squidgy Spanish snail who has a big dream of finding a special paradise garden that his grandfather, Papa, or Manuel, has told him about all his life since he was a child, and he believes that it exists, and he is determined that he is going to find it, and that he's not going to stay where he lives, which is in a dusty plant pot with a squillion other snails, and there's not much room, and there's no food, and it's noisy, and they could easily be squashed, because we know that it's easy to squash a snail. He wants a better life, so he's gone in search of an olive garden, because he is a determined dreamer, and I bet you guys are a determined dreamer too. So, but Ernie's dream plan hasn't quite gone as he hoped, and remember, he ended up as a pet in someone's kitchen, and all seemed great, and he thought maybe he would settle there until he realized a sinister secret, that the reason he was kept as a pet was to be fattened up and eaten, maybe in a giant paella or a snail soup. I don't know, but he was going to be eaten by humans. So he got out of that kitchen and landed on a compost heap. Wow, awesome place for a snail to find himself. And he ended up making a new friend, Bruce, the Aussie snail. Now, Bruce liked Ernie, but did not believe in his dreams. But he decided he would help him to get on the road to his dreams, so that at least he would get rid of the very nice snail and he would have his compost heap back to himself. However, if you remember, Bruce got swept up into the journey. And I think deep down, Bruce liked it. He's a little bit of an adventurer. He's an Aussie snail. Remember how he came over from Australia to Spain? Wonder if you guys remember? Oh, I wish you could send it to me. But he got stuck. He escaped from a deadly spider and wedged himself into the groove on someone's boot. And that person must have put the boot on and taken a flight to Spain. And he ended up in Spain. Wow, poor Bruce, but I think he liked it. So Bruce gets swept up in his journey, and the two end up escaping wild dogs. And they put the cabbage leaf on their head, and they escape. And then they flip the cabbage leaf over, jump inside it, sail down the river. Everything was great until they hit the rapids, and Bruce got flipped out of the cabbage leaf. Wow, poor Bruce, he was about to sink to the bottom of the river and never to be seen again, when quick-thinking Ernie grabbed, I wonder if you remember what two items out of his pack of useless items, or so he thought they were useless, he used. I'll give you a moment to think. I can hear you shouting how the answer is. Yep, it was a blob of chewing gum and a polo mint, so a mint with a hole in the middle. He rescued Bruce, and everything seemed to be smooth sailing until they hit a rock. And then they realized it wasn't just any old rock, it was a moving rock. And that's where we left it last session, with you guessing what was the moving rock. And we did a session on being a good friend. And I have someone's work to share today, which I can't wait to share with you. So let's get on with the chapter, the best bit. Okay, the two hitchhikers. The rapids were strong and powerful. Walls of water towered above them before crashing down on them. A huge wave almost flipped the leaf completely over. But somehow they managed to come through it safely. The water gushed around them, and over large rocks. And with each new wave, the snails closed their eyes, expecting the worst, but the worst never came. It was as if someone was carrying them, holding them up and keeping them safe. Eventually, the rapids died away and they floated out into the calm water. The snails were still clinging to the leaf in terror, and the stuff from Ernie's rucksack was strewn across the now soggy cabbage. Ernie looked over at his friend, who was munching on the side of the boat. "What are you doing?" said Ernie. "I always eat when I'm nervous," replied Bruce. "Look at that!" Ernie had spotted something moving under their boat. At first, he thought it was a fish, but it seemed to be making the same movement again and again, disappearing and then returning. "Hey, Ern, look over there. There's one on this side too," said Bruce. Ernie looked. It was just the same. The snails stared at each other with a puzzled look and then smiled. Together they slid to the front of the soggy cabbage leaf and peered over the edge. I think they have guessed what it might be. Sure enough, there it was, just as they expected. A head with two beady eyes on a long, thick neck, attached to a magnificent and graceful turtle. Wondered if you guys have guessed it. They chuckled. They had figured out the mystery of the moving rock. "Good morning," they said. The turtle looked up in surprise. "Hey, what are you doing on my back?" I'm terribly sorry," replied Ernie. "This is rather embarrassing, but I have no idea." Bruce butted in. "Yeah, but cheers for the lift, mate. We couldn't have got through those rapids without you." The turtle smiled at the two small snails sitting on his back with cherry pip hats on their heads. "De nada," he said cheerfully. "Encantado. Me llama Jose." Wonder if you guys understood that in Spanish. So he said, "You're welcome. Pleased to meet you. My name is Jose." "Nice to meet you, Jose. I'm Ernie, and this is my good friend and fellow adventurer, Bruce." "So, where are you traveling to today?" asked Ernie confidently. "I'm on my way to see my family downstream. They live just under the fig trees." "And where are you two amigos going?" Jose asked as he glided effortlessly down the river. "Is there anywhere that I can drop you off?" "Well, that is a very good question. We are looking for a special place called Olive Garden. Do you know it?" Ernie asked tentatively. "Yes." Jose turned to his new friends and grinned. "Yes, I do. Very well, in fact. My family lives near there. It's a beautiful place." Ernie couldn't believe it. He was so happy that his tentacles began dancing excitedly on his small head. He turned to smile at Bruce, but Bruce had fainted. It was all too much for him. Remember, Bruce wasn't sure that it actually existed, and now he has found out that it really does. And he just can't handle it, and he's fainted. So let me just show you. I love this picture. Let's have a look here. Can you see it? Okay, so that's Jose sitting on the back. Ernie and Bruce sitting on the back of Jose, their new friend. So Jose seems like a really nice turtle, and it seems like it's a good thing that they found him. So I have an awful feeling that my laptop battery is about to die. So I'm going to go through this super quick. So my author tip today is a good one. Character descriptions. Character descriptions are so important. In your story, you need to describe your character. Okay, so you don't need to go into great depths if you don't want to. Okay, maybe you just need to say a few important things about your character that is relevant to your story. So maybe you don't need to say that they have 5 brothers and sisters. If the story isn't about the brothers and sisters, you might not want to add that. You might decide that you do, which is fine. Okay, but when you're writing your character description, try to think of what things do you need to tell your reader about your character that is important and you're going to use later in the story. So maybe they are let me think, a grumpy character. And later in your story, you're going to show them as grumpy, and they're going to have a situation in the story where they end up changing some of their ways, and they have a transformation. So there's a development of the character. So you might want to show that. Maybe you have two contrasting characters. So you have two brothers, two siblings, brother and sister, two brothers, two sisters, but they are really different, or two twins, and they're really different. And one is very quiet and very nervous, and the other one is bold and adventurous. And you need to explain those differences, because later that is going to be relevant in your story as the story progresses. So character descriptions are brilliant things that you need to add in. Some people think that they need to add like what the character's wearing. I don't think you always need to add that in. So you need to ask yourself, is this relevant to my story? So sometimes it might be really relevant to add what your character is wearing or what they look like, okay, or in great detail. So he's wearing a blue jumper and blue jeans or something, and that's important to your story. But if it's not, don't feel that you have to add it in. Okay, you might want to add what color hair they've got, what color eyes they've got, just because it's nice. It helps the reader to create a picture in their mind of what the character looks like. But you don't need to go the whole way of every single bit of item of clothing, because you might find that it's a bit boring for your reader. So just stick with the things that the person reading it needs to know, the things that are helpful later in your story. The other thing I think is helpful is do a bit of work on your character description. So not just your character description, the bit that you write in your story, but do some work on developing your character. Okay, so you might not use all of this in your story, but it's helpful to give your character more depth and make him more real, or her more real and human. If you spend some time maybe writing about your character, write a day in the life of your character. What things do they get up to? Okay, you could write the whole background history if you want to, who their parents are, who their family are, where they come from, what things they like and what they don't like. You might not use that all in your story, but you would have painted a beautiful picture of who your character is. And that will probably just come out in your writing. Okay, because if they're a quiet person, you will probably end up showing them throughout your story as being a little bit quiet in their response to what happens to them in the story. If they are bold and adventurous and brave, and things happen to them in their story, they would respond in a bold and brave and confident way. So I think it's good to take some time to develop your character. So some work before you do your story, and then add some of that into your character description. And then you can also show it throughout your story. So show, not tell. You can show them being bold without necessarily saying they're bold. So there's lots of little things that you can do. But main tip, work on your character and spend some time in your story describing your character. Okay, my activity for you guys today, I am going to take it from my workbook. So if you remember, I set a competition for you guys for you to do the worksheet, or you don't have to use the worksheet. I have uploaded some free worksheets on my website, which you can find and download. So at bethshepherd.com, you will find freebies. Okay, so under the heading freebies, you will see some sheets that you can download for free, and some of them link to the videos. So last week's one linked to the video, but you don't have to use the worksheet. But remember I said, could you describe what it means to be a good friend? So I have someone's awesome work to share with you. But this week I am taking it also from this book. Oh, sorry. So remember, the first 5 people who send in their what does it mean to be a good friend will get a digital download copy of this book, so you can use all the awesome activities inside it. So where is my page? So I would like to do this activity with you guys today. So I'm going to upload this as a worksheet. Okay, now my question is, what type of character do you think Jose is? And how do you think the author, that's me, might use him in the story? Explain your answers. So I want you to write about what type of character is Jose? So I've just talked about character descriptions. What is Jose like? Is he rude and grumpy? Is he really helpful? He does sound quite helpful. Is he kind and sincere and wise? Or is he actually got an evil, sinister side and he's going to take the snails captive? It's up to you, or maybe somewhere completely in between both of those. And also, how do you think I am going to use him in the story? Because I don't bring in a character into the story if he's not part of the story or does not have a use within the story. Okay, so how am I going to use him in the story? You might also like to explain what you think happens next in the story. Okay, so I'm going to print you a sheet like this and add it on to freebies. And then you can write in the box there and answer the question. And I would love to see it. So please send it to me. So laptop has not died yet, thankfully. So must remember to plug in the laptop next time. So I want to read out someone's awesome work about what it means to be a good friend. And her name is Jinhan. And she's done this with her sister, Rohan. So she has answered the 2 questions from the sheet. Let me just show you guys on here. Okay, so she got this sheet from the free downloads, which is brilliant. And give 2 examples from these chapters to show how Bruce and Ernie helped each other. So she said Bruce has helped Ernie escape from the wild dogs. Brilliant. And next, number 2, Ernie helped to save Bruce from drowning. Wow, she was really listening to the story, so well done. Then, I love this, okay? Explain in your own words what it means to be a good friend and why it's important to help others. Being a good friend means helping each other and helping each other, and really just knowing who they are. That's nice. A good friend is just knowing who someone is. I like that. Knowing all the things about them that makes them laugh, that makes them cry, that makes them happy and sad, that they love doing, their dreams and hopes. Just knowing that. It's kind of like holding them in your heart, isn't it? It is important to help each other because that's what a true friend does. Well said, Jinhan. I love that. And what a true friend really means to people. Yeah, so a true friend is someone who you know that maybe will be there for you and help you. So well done, that's beautiful. So you'll definitely be getting a copy of Dreaming with Ernie. So don't forget, by this Thursday, I have 4 more people who are going to be getting a copy of this. So don't forget to email me. You can go on my website, and down the bottom of the website, you will see my email address. So you can send it to me and I will see that and I will read it out if I have time, if we have time in the sessions. But I have 4 more people who, if you're the first 4, because I've already got 1, will receive a copy of Dreaming with Ernie. Okay, so I've told you about my free downloads. Don't forget, because I'd love you guys to be able to use those worksheets. There is a word search in there about being a good friend. I know you guys like word searches. So have a good week. Oh, and I will see you on Thursday.